9 months after taking office, Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson may have a historically low approval rating. Good evening. I'm Preston Phillips.
And I'm Molly Shen. A new survey from the Fulcrum Strategy Group shows a stunning drop in support across ideological lines, now measuring just 37%.
The plunge is likely tied to concerns over crime, drugs, and homelessness. We have team coverage tonight, including KOMO's Claire Weber, who talked with people about their public safety concerns.
But we begin tonight with KOMO senior reporter Chris Daniels, who asked Wilson about these numbers and where she may go from here. Chris.
Yeah, Molly and Preston, first real snapshot of how viewers and voters are viewing the Bite of Seattle response and public safety. And it is a poll that crosses all sorts of neighborhoods and ideological lines.
Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson spent Thursday literally painting the town and a new bus lane.
How does this reasonably improve public safety?
So safety on our streets is a very, very high priority for my office. And unfortunately, we've seen several people die this year due to traffic collisions.
Yet concerns over the safety of the public appears to have eroded support even within her base. That's according to a new poll by the Fulcrum Strategy Group and released by the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. Her favorability rating was a meager 37%, and 2/3 of self-described Seattle liberals giving her unfavorable marks.
Mayors over time, their favorable rating always goes down after a honeymoon period. But just 4 months ago, the mayor's favorable was at 56%. It's now at 37%. That is a precipitous drop in just 4 months, and not something I've really seen before.
Andrew Tebow conducted the poll and has surveyed voters for 40 years.
Not seen something this bad this early.
How is this not a push poll? How is this not a poll trying to get a certain result?
Things like a favorable rating, there's no way to bias that. Kind of the big picture thing is how much consensus there is on public safety issues right now.
The poll, spread across an even number of voters in each district of the city, was done after the still unsolved Bite of Seattle shooting and forced resignation of the police chief, and also gave low marks to the Seattle City Council.
They're not happy with the council either.
I think oftentimes when a city's not doing well, folks look to see city leadership.
Yet Councilmember Maritza Rivera says she's had little support from the mayor for her legislation to contract with an outside national leader on a gun violence reduction plan.
It's focused deterrence. They identify the folks that are involved with gun violence in the city. It is a carrot and stick approach. Right now in Seattle, we really just do carrot.
A 20-point drop in just a matter of months. How do you explain that?
So I think there are a lot of concerns right now about public safety, which I understand. Public safety is an extremely high priority for my office.
But for now, the picture being painted by the mayor is not the same one being seen by voters.
Wilson also told me today that she, quote, understands the uncertainty in the city right now and that she will start a national search for a new police chief soon, but she would not say if the interim police chief, Andre Sales, will be a factor in that search. Molly and Preston.
Chris, with all this talk about public safety, there have been suggestions from police that crime is actually down in Seattle. So if that's the case, why would her support be cratering?
Yeah, it's a great question. Maritza Rivera, the council member that you heard from just now, says that crime is still higher than it was before the pandemic. So she believes that is a factor in all of this. But clearly, the Bite of Seattle and the situation after that at City Hall has been a defining moment for this mayor. According to this poll, it is across the board with people who identify as progressives, liberals, socialists, moderates in the city of Seattle. Her support has cratered. In fact, it appears to be centered around the issue of closed-circuit television cameras in a real-time crime center. 75% of voters in this poll say they want those cameras, they want an expansion of that program, and that is an issue right now that seems to be outweighing any other issue that the mayor wants to talk about right now.
All right, Chris, thanks for the numbers and the insight tonight. The new polling numbers come on the heels of recall charges filed against Mayor Wilson. 2 Seattle residents filed the charges last week, accusing Wilson of being derelict in her duties in regard to public safety. On Tuesday, a hearing was set for August 31st with a King County Superior Court judge. If the judge allows this recall to move forward, Wilson can appeal to the state Supreme Court. Then if it moves forward from there, supporters would have to gather roughly 70,000 valid voter signatures to qualify for a future ballot.
On top of the sharp drop in overall approval ratings, Wilson and her team are facing tough criticism of what has or hasn't been done to make the city safer. KOMO's Claire Weber live in Seattle this evening with what people who live here are saying about the poll's results. Claire?
Well, Preston, voters were polled on a range of public safety areas, and the Wilson administration took home D or D+ ratings in each one. People today told us they weren't surprised by the low marks, but they hope improvement can happen fast.
You know, we got a lot of challenges.
Now 8 months into the job, and Mayor Katie Wilson is quickly losing the backing of Seattle voters, as seen in this new poll.
Seeing as I haven't really seen a lot of the, hopeful change that she kind of campaigned on, I am not too surprised.
Public safety appears to be at the root of Wilson's likability issues, from transparency in City Hall to the cleanup of Seattle streets.
I'm a regular bus traveler, and so going to the bus stops, you can barely be there safely. Filth, it's the debris, it's the activity, the needles, all that kind of stuff. It's just really disturbing.
Residents like Pat Renfro say Wilson needs to tackle open drug use and homeless camps with a more aggressive and meaningful approach.
It's just out of control. It's like, why don't you resolve the problem and stop them from being able to just simply say, well, we'll just move here and we'll move there.
Wilson also continues to face scrutiny for the handling of the deadly Seattle Center shooting last month, as the search for a third suspected shooter still goes unsolved.
I think that could have been handled better than what it was. My thing is, when we have events like that, functions like amusement parks and stuff like that, I think it just needs more security.
Overall, residents say they want more results and policy wins to ensure Seattle neighborhoods are safe and that the city's future is heading in the right direction.
As far as leadership goes, we need somebody good in leadership that knows how to delegate and put people to work, and she doesn't.
We also heard from people who believe strengthening the partnership between the mayor's office, Seattle police, and different community groups could help improve some of these areas of safety. Many say that effort can't be on the mayor alone. Live in Seattle, Claire Weber, KOMO News.
The Seattle Metro Chamber poll asked about more than just the mayor and city council. The poll also gauged opinion of the Seattle Police Department. 56% of respondents have a favorable view compared to 44% with an unfavorable view. The poll has a margin of error of 4.4%.
It's time for you to vote in tonight's KOMO Pulse poll. We're asking, how would you describe Seattle's direction overall? Live results here show only 1% of people responding say Seattle's on the right track. By far the majority, 96%, say it's the wrong track, and the remaining 3% say stuck in place. To vote, scan the QR code on your screen. It'll also take you to our web story with the full poll results.